There is a hidden reason that good and talented men don't succeed, and today I'm going to help you find it. Welcome back to the Truly a Masterpiece podcast. My name is Craig Walker. I am your host. This is your home where you find freedom over self doubt and shame and become the man of influence that you've dreamed that you were always made to be. This is where you learn to live that life that you were born to love. Now, today, I want to dig back into Jesus' teaching on the parable of the 3 talents. Last week we talked about comparison. Comparison will cause good and talented men to bury their talent. And I showed you the answer is the servant's mindset. This is where you begin to break free from comparison. Today, though, I want to go back into that talk and I want to take it a few layers deeper. Most people already know that comparison's wrong. So why don't we just stop? Well, comparison's not the problem, it's just the symptom. Today, I want to show you the hidden reason comparison has so much power over good and talented men like you. Now, let me give you a heads up. Part of this talk, it's going to sound like a repeat. I promise you it's not. Stick with me. I promise you're going to get what you came for, and it's going to be good. So let's get started. This is a really important talk to me because I hid my talent most of my life and I wasn't even aware of it. I didn't think I liked public speaking. I didn't enjoy it. I dreaded it. Every time I stood in front of people, I felt pressure. I felt stress just thinking about it. And because of that belief, I buried that talent. Now, I don't mean I never spoke. It's just that if I could get out of it, I would. I officiated all 6 of my children's weddings. And here's something embarrassing. At 2 of them, I skipped the message entirely. Yep, I did. Right when people were waiting and expecting me to deliver some helpful talk, I just skipped right over it and went into the vows. In that moment, I talked myself into believing that what I had to say wasn't worth hearing. In that moment, when I could have delivered a truth, a practice, a lesson learned, I could have helped my children, I could have helped someone in the office, I simply buried my talent. And when it comes to promoting my own ministry, I'd almost completely stop speaking. Why? It wasn't that I didn't think I was good. I knew that God had given me some talent for speaking and for teaching. I knew He did. Every time I spoke, people told me how much I helped them. The problem was, it's not that I didn't think I was good. I thought I wasn't good enough. I compared my talent to those who were way more gifted, way more polished, way more impactful. Men like Andy Stanley, Louis Giglio, Rick Warren, Tony Evans. So speaking, for me, it wasn't an opportunity to serve others. It wasn't even an opportunity to use my gift or to sharpen it or to glorify God. It was a painful reminder that you are not enough. Now, the question that changed my life, it wasn't, why don't you quit comparing yourself to others? No, the question that changed my life is, why does comparison have so much power over you? Comparison kept me from showing up for my children's wedding. Comparison kept me from promoting my own ministry. Comparison kept me from speaking and getting better at speaking. Comparison kept me from glorifying God by using my talent. Looking back, my silence, it didn't come out of humility. It came out of fear. So why did I let it do it? The answer was my assumptions. Asking me to see that I was burying my talent was like asking a fish to see water. You can't see what you've been living in all your life. You just assume it's reality. For me, the water wasn't comparison. For me, the water was my assumptions. I had believed for years, I had assumed that I wasn't good enough. I had assumed others thought that too. I assumed that because I and others thought that, then surely God must think it also. I would have never admitted this to myself, not to anyone, but I thought God's grace wasn't enough for me. I bet you've thought that too. Now, if you don't think you have, then answer this. What are you afraid of? Why are you burying your talent? Why aren't you fulfilling your dream? Now, if you don't think you are, it just might be because you're like the fish and you don't see the water that you live in. The greatest lies, they're not the ones that you believe. They are the ones that you stop questioning because they've become assumptions. These assumptions, you know where they come from? They're born out of shame. And those assumptions produce the fear that I lived with most of my life. That's why it's so hard to recognize. Shame hides. Shame doesn't introduce itself. It doesn't say, hey, I'm shame. Shame disguises itself. Sometimes it looks like perfectionism. Sometimes it looks like procrastination. Sometimes it looks like people pleasing. Sometimes it looks like fear. Sometimes it looks like anger. Sometimes it looks like overachievement. Other times, you know what it looks like? It looks like you're really trying. Trying sounds so humble. Trying sounds so responsible. Trying sounds so spiritual. If that's true, if it hides in all of that, how can good and talented men ever see they're bearing their talent? You see it the same way a fish sees water. You take the fish out of its natural environment, the water. You know what happens to a fish if you take it out of the water? Water is all it sees. Thank God that there is a way to get out of your natural environment. Your natural environment is where comparison lives. Your natural environment is where you feel like you're not enough. It's in the realm of the physical. You've seen your little talent. You've compared it to those with 5 talents. You've seen their talents too. And that's what's causing you to bury your talent. You must get out of that natural environment and into a new environment, the spiritual. When you do, the contrast will be so obvious. You see, the natural world tells you who you are by comparison. The spiritual world tells you who you are by revelation, and they're different. You know what comparison is? It's shame's desperate search for significance, because comparison is trying to answer the question that only God can answer. When you step into the spiritual world, God answers the question that comparison never could. The natural is where you think, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not talented enough. I'm not pretty enough, personable enough, pure enough, determined enough, or committed enough. Have you assumed that you're too weak, too big, too small, too lazy, too driven, too much of anything, or too little? When you step out of that natural world into the spiritual world, God answers that question that comparison never could. You are God's masterpiece. You're God's work of art. That's a contrast. When you were dead in your sins and you followed after the course of this world and you were led by the prince and the power of darkness, Satan, God made you anew. He made you born again in Jesus. God says that new birth experience has provided you with everything you need to do every good thing that He created you to do. That's because God's grace is enough. That's a big contrast. When you see it, when you accept it, you won't worry that you're not a 5-talent servant, because your talent in God's hand, it's enough to do way more than you could ever ask or imagine. You see, God never asked you to become a 5-talent servant, but He did ask you to become a faithful servant. So here's my challenge to you today. This week, don't start by trying harder. Don't start by even fighting comparison. Don't even start by asking, how do I stop comparing myself to others? No, instead, ask a different question. What assumptions have I stopped questioning? What have I simply accepted as reality? Have you assumed that you're not enough? Have you assumed that other people think that about you too? Have you assumed that you're disappointing God? Bring those assumptions into the light. Lay them beside the spiritual, what God says about you. The natural world tells you who you are by comparison, but the spiritual world tells you who you are by revelation. Stop asking the question that only God can answer. Listen to the one who made you. He calls you His masterpiece. He says that His grace is enough. He says that He's already given you everything you need to do everything He created you to do. God never asked you to become a 5-talent servant. God asked you to become a faithful servant. Stop burying your talent. Stop measuring your life against someone else's. Rest in His love. Rely on His grace. Be faithful with what he's entrusted to you and enjoy the life he created you to live, doing all the good things that he created you to do, doing these things with peace, joy, and a boatload of confidence. Well, I hope this talk has encouraged you. If it has, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Now, if you need help winning your battle over shame and self-doubt, if you need help challenging your assumptions, let's have a conversation. Reach out to me. Don't forget to check out the resources and the links that are inside your show notes. And until next time, may the Lord help you to live that life that you were born to love.